Hello, welcome to my 22nd day of my class. First video, I think there'll be two. About the stuff that I said yesterday, I want to add a few things. There's a family called the cruciferi. That's crucified, that involved Jesus being nailed on a cross. Well, a cross is the crucifixion involved a cross. In that word is the word for cross. And the cruciferi family is named that because in the flower there's a cross inside the flower. Well, anyway, that I won't list all the plants, but I wouldn't name that family except that it is just so important. It's amazing how many of the plants that we maybe don't survive on but use a lot of are in the cruciferi. Cabbage, I think, is in it. Mustard is. I don't know about lettuce. It's a very important plant. Just offhand, I can't think of more, but I think it deserves mention. I think maybe turnips, possibly. I don't know about carrots. Sugar beets, possibly. Also, a sweetener from the Middle Ages, before there was sugar cane, that I forgot to mention, was malt. If you took barley, or in the process of making beer, there's a step where you can let the grain ferment, or not ferment yet, but sprout just a little bit, and the starch turns over to sugar, and then that's captured. That's called a wort when you make beer, and then you ferment that to make malt. But anyway, you ferment it to make beer. Malted milk balls have that taste of malt in it. So that was there as well, and I wanted to mention it. And still back on what I was saying before. See, this is a subject I like. Boy, the wind's blowing through here. It's moving the camera. I should have shut the door maybe. The grains are so important because they give us starch. And the thing about wheat or grasses is that they make that seed which stores the starch in. When you take the husk off it, and grind that, it's very consumable. Well, here are some other foods. Quinoa, I don't think, is in the grass family, and yet it is a grain, and it serves to do that. Buckwheat, I know, is not in the grass family, and yet it also makes a seed that does that. Millet, I am not sure if that's in the grass family or not. I don't know, but it's another major grain. Amaranthus, I think I've got that name right. I don't think it's in the grass family, but it does that as well. And finally, one other thing that I can think of at the moment about that subject, which I so dearly love, that nightshade family. I told you has a lot of poisons in it. Well, when I was small, and I think it's still true, I remember my mother telling me you don't want to eat the green on potatoes because there's poison in that. Well, I think that's probably true. It probably is. It would take a good bit of it to kill you, but that's an interesting family because some of the plants are quite deadly. All right, now moving on. This is the main thing I want to do today, and it's going to be two videos. In the 18th section, 18.1 or 18.2, still prehistoric. Maybe write down history of technology. I mean the wheel. Oh, I got to tell you about the lever and the fulcrum. I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that today still. But anyway, I wanted to have you try to draw this. I can't draw. I confess that to you. I am no artist. But in the video called Quest for Fire, if you watched it, you saw a guy going like this, and he started fire. Remember, if you're not watching the videos that I recommend, you're not really taking a course. He made fire. It's a remarkable footage that's there. And when I've shown it to my students, I said, don't worry, you'll just get your blisters, you'll never get a fire started. I'm not worried about you trying to do that. Well, a couple of years ago, I had a kid say, well, can we try? And I said, I don't care, there's a bench at the back of the room, and they were trying. What they figured out to do was take turns. And when the one guy got tired, another one would get on there, and then another one get on there. And here I smelled smoke. And I went back and made them stop, so they actually were going to be able to make fire in that little hole. Anyway, what I would say, if I had to make fire by myself, I would probably try to do something like this. You had to have a kind of a divot in a block of wood, there's the stick, but instead of using my hands, I would use a spring stick with a thong on it wrapped around it like a bow. You could go back and forth that way. I think I would do better with that than with my hands. Also, I would put a block of wood on top with a divot in it, so that you wouldn't see that. That should have been dashed. So you could press down as you did that. And in the video, you saw the guy put his feet over the stick to hold it still. Well, that's pretty clever. He was a pretty clever guy. I think I would maybe use thong or something to wrap around maybe a log or something to hold that still, because you'd have to hold that still. Now given this situation, maybe so. I would probably want to put something there to make it not want to spin very much, make it sticky like pitch, or maybe a little bit of sand or a little bit of dirt. And I'd probably want to put, because here's where I want the fire, not up here. Up here I'd maybe put water, something to make it slip real well, like water, wax, that would be available, beeswax, animal fat, something like that would spin well there, but not well there, and I might stand a chance of getting a fire. This is a fire-making rig, I call it. Well, I want you to imagine that, because in the next video I'll show you why I'm making such a fuss about this. So coming soon, another video on the history of technology.